Hello everyone, welcome to a new episode of Survival Minecraft with Friends. This is episode 12, and if you watched last episode, you'll notice there's something slightly different about my base. This block of housing over here wasn't there last time. I took the liberty of completing it in between episodes, and I'm pretty happy with it. Same amount of houses as over there, and the same number of types. There's 3 smaller ones and 2 larger ones on both, so I'm pretty happy with that consistency. It actually worked itself out. I didn't consciously count the houses. I wasn't really thinking about that, but I'm glad it turned out in the way it did. But this episode, I don't really want to focus too much on my base. I want to head right to spawn, and I want to AFK overnight at the creeper farm we built last episode. So I'll meet you there in the morning, and we can have a look at what drops we collected over the time. Alright, it's now been about 12 hours since I last logged off, and I did actually die partway through. I think a zombie got through the door and killed me. So this morning I came back, I blocked the door, AFK'd for a little bit longer. So I'm not expecting too many drops. Also, VAD was online, so that probably impacted things as well. But let's go look at the chest, which I have just over here in this fancy chest room. It's nothing special right now, but VAD's going to make a shulker box loader in the future. So, moment of truth. Yeah, I was expecting. At least it is something, though, so that's pretty cool. One other reason it's probably not very efficient is we haven't lit up the snowy biome yet, and this AFK spot in the sheep's head isn't exactly ideal. But I'm not too worried about that. We'll probably build that in the near future. This episode, however, I want to focus on making this gunpowder factory into a rocket factory, and that means incorporating some kind of paper farm, which means I need to farm sugarcane, and I think the best spot to do that is on the roof, kind of completing it as a miniature skyscraper was my plan, sort of. So I want to kind of, well, brainstorm some ideas in a creative world first, because I have absolutely no idea how to build sugarcane farms that fit in a smaller space than just a big line of sugarcane and pistons and a lever. So I'm going to brainstorm that, and I'll come back once I have something established. So I think this is a pretty promising farm design. I actually had to plumb a minecart down here in order to collect the drops that get stuck. Obviously some get stuck on the top, but it'll be covered. Yeah, this is a little bit more complex than I thought. Originally I was going to make it so it just shot the sugarcane down into the creeper's tube, and then it would be picked up by the minecart down there, but it looks like that's not going to be the case with a lot of it, since some of it drops onto here, so makes the minecart a necessity, or else we get about 50% loss. So I'm going to go back onto the server and grab myself some materials and get started building. Here I am, back on the server with materials in hand. I'm going to quickly clear the carpet off this area and build it, and then I'll come back and show you a little bit about how it works. Here is the harvesting system, all fully complete. Here's a look on the inside. Don't ask me to explain it. I'm not entirely sure. I just placed blocks until it worked in the creative world. Of course, this isn't going to win any looks awards or function awards, but it works for what I designed it for, and that's good enough for me. Now, I want to work on the pickup system, because of course the minecart here is only going to pick up things that land on that block. I want to design something that will spit all the drops down into the creeper tube, which will then be sent up with the gunpowder into the storage system. So let me work on that now, and I'll come back once I've progressed. I think I've come up with a pretty reliable solution for this. So I've put water here, so the drops will be pushed down here, they'll land against the trapdoors, and they'll be on the right plane as to not hit anything on the way down to the magma, where they will be picked up and sent to the storage room. But obviously it won't work very well right now for the creeper farm because this lets in daylight, and I can combat that by just simply covering this whole area up, which I will do next. Alrighty, I've finished the exterior and covered everything up. I'm pretty happy with this. I've tried to replicate what I did on the base up here in order to have a sense of continuity and keep the cartoony factory vibe going. As you can see, I haven't completed the top, and that's because I want to expand this thing and make it into a skyscraper, just for fun. It won't have any function, it'll just be for aesthetic purposes, and an AFK chamber would be up there too. But before I start that, I want to do a short AFK session for about maybe a couple hours and just see the drops of the farm and see the ratio between gunpowder and sugarcane, see if it's alright. So I'll get to that, and I'll come back afterwards to show you the loot. So I was AFK for a bit over an hour, I think just about 2 hours, and here are the drops you get. This is quite satisfactory. The ratio between sugarcane and gunpowder is perfect for the type of rockets I need, and it looks like an Enderman met his untimely demise in the chambers of the farm, which is unfortunate for him, but good for me because I get an ender pearl. Now I was planning, like I said, on doing some more building on that, but right now I was invited to go swamp hunting, so I think I'm going to gear up and join my playmates to find a swamp, and then maybe we'll finish the skyscraper later on in the episode. So let's go to them. This is what happens when you never sleep. Bad has his camera count on, and all these phantoms are hunting him and now hunting me. So unfortunately the swamp hunt didn't really work out too well. My internet was just not having it today, and the server is having difficulty generating all the new chunks. So we've called it off for now, and I've come back to the creeper farm where I want to start building the skyscraper. I've got all my materials here, although I think I'm going to need to get a bit more stone, so I'm going to go grab that, and then we can start brainstorming some ideas to build on top of here. So I've been brainstorming a little bit, and I've come up with 3 designs. I've come up with this one with 1 block center, which I'm pretty sure I'm going to scrap, because it just looks a little bit awkward in context with the rest of the build. This one I like a little bit more. It's the same vein as this one, with poking out 2 blocks, but it's separated a little bit more, and I do like it more, but it's going to be a little bit harder to work with. Now this one's probably the easiest to work with. It's just vertical. It's also got a 3 block center, so I'm pretty happy with this one. I'm going to take away that and build these 2 a little bit more and see which one I like more. So I'll come back then and we'll talk about which one I prefer for what reasons. So I think I've come up with a design that I prefer, and it is this one right here on the right. So what I'm going to do now is quickly replicate it onto all the other sides and see if I still like it as much. I'll be right back. Alright, here's what it's looking like. I'm pretty fond of it. It looks a little bit awkward as it is right now, but once we stack enough of them, I think it's going to look perfectly fine. I'm also stuck. I just thought that was kind of funny. As you can see here, I've only had the grate on one of the window things, and that is the same on all sides. You can see kind of the grate over there. The other window would be open. Now I want to do that because I'm going to add glass in there and make it look like it's sort of lived in-ish. I don't want to make this just some weird structure with vents and grates. I want it to seem like it has some kind of purpose other than generating loot, but that would be the basement part. So right now, what I plan to do is expand this up 1 more level, and if I don't like it, I'm going to expand it 1 more level, and then I'll come back to you. So let me quickly go expand it and see how that turns out. This was an incredible pain to build. I actually died twice, hence the absence of my totem of undying. Yeah, the server's just not liking me flying today. With an elytra. But that said, I'm quite happy with it. Now, it could be a little bit wider in my opinion. I kind of messed up with the proportions, but it'll do, and it works nice as it is, and I'm not rebuilding it because of the paint. There are some things, however, that I would like to do to it before we wrap this project up, like extending the grate here, and adding windows and adding a topper, because right now it's just flat up there. Well, not flat, it's got the ribs that are poking 1 block up, but otherwise it's fairly flat, and I'd like to add like some kind of stone topper. So I'm going to quickly do those things and come right back to you guys. I have to say, it's quite a relief to have this tower complete, but I'm quite proud of it actually. I think it turned out pretty nice, given the restraints I had. As you can see here, I've added lime windows on every other one, as well as above that grate down there. I think it adds quite a lot. And then I've just put a little bit of a topper, kind of Empire State Building-esque, on the top of the tower, with a little bit of an antenna on the top of the top. That's a mouthful. I know this is a bit of a shorter episode, but I'd like to wrap it up here. I hope you enjoyed a lot. I'm sorry that it is shorter, but I figured I'd end it on the completion of a project rather than this beginning of a new one, since, I mean, it's nice to end on something complete for once. So if you did enjoy it, please let me know it in the comments, and have a fantastic day. I'll see you next time.